Federal government has taken a swipe at the People's Democratic Party after the outburst of the party that it seemed the kidnapping of the Dapchi schoolgirls was stage-managed. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed, in a meeting with newsmen in Lagos, faulted the negative reactions and falsehood trailing the Dapchi incident.
Now, Mohammed accuses the PDP of playing disgraceful and insensitive politics with the abduction and release of the schoolgirls at a time that called for non-partisan celebration. Now, he went on to say that the PDP deserves to be, he used the word deregistered for failing both as a ruling and an opposition party.
Well, with us in the studio is a member of the People's Democratic Party, Segun Sowunmi. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Nice to have you join us now. Good morning.
Yes, the minister wants your party deregistered. What do you have to say first off?
I think the minister is irresponsible to make such a statement. Wow. And truly, we expect that he should take it back. The minister must understand that when you are the minister of information of a country, over and above the pettiness that you exhibited when you were speaking for opposition, you now must up the ante, for it will give the impression that there is a clandestine activities that represents the mind of the government to stifle political space and probably convert Nigeria into some kind of imagination that will never work of a one-party state. The things that the minister have said, if he had come from maybe the spokesperson of the party, it could have been maybe tolerated within the banters of one political party to another political party. But when the minister talks like that, it means that there is a directive principle of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria underneath the responsibility of President Muhammadu Buhari to deregister the PDP. That must be a joke. Also, you must see that if you go back to 1999, and Nigerians just have to hew a sigh of relief and thank God that it wasn't this set of people that end or took the reins of power from the military. They would never have allowed democracy to grow. They would never have allowed party spaces to be opened up for other people to play. For the first opportunity they have in government, the first thing they're saying is they want to deregister. They're not deregistering parties that have not won any election. They are deregistering the party that conducted and that superintended and sat over government and handed over power in a democratic way to them, demonstrating that the ethos of democracy.
He's not saying the government would deregister.
No. He's saying they should. He's a minister for communication.
Okay.
Once he speaks,
information.
It looks like the position of the government.
That's where the irresponsible comes from. Once he speaks, it is believed that that is the cabinet position and that is the position of government. And I want to say that Alhaji Lai Mohammed, with the greatest respect to him, ought to take that back. I said earlier that if it had come from maybe Abdullahi, we could have tolerated it as banter. Government information management must come at a higher level. And our party have always been of the opinion that Alhaji Lai Mohammed does not even know the job of a minister of information.
Why is that?
Yes, I'll tell you why. We have observed over the 3 years from today, 3 years ago they were elected. We have observed in the 3 years that he's not been able to metamorphose into someone that communicates on behalf of government effectively. He has not been able to bring himself to the level where even the things that are expected to be done with the Ministry of Information and the reimaging of the nation, he hasn't been able to do that. And when it comes to bantering and getting into the fray, he forgets himself completely and begins to act like the way he's always acted in opposition. And to the issues that got him maybe a little bit livid, which is the Dapchi girl and the entire episode. Listen, the business of opposition is to, within reasonable limits, oppose and maybe coalesce opinions that Nigerians are saying and present it back to the public again as this is what we're hearing from the field. The People's Democratic Party of Nigeria did not invent the narrative that suggested that something does not add up with the Dapchi girl. First of all, you have a situation where the chief of experience should have given enough knowledge of how this situation should be handled. Second of all, you can't have information coming out saying that the military was withdrawn from the environment and some other people just drove into the place and carted away girls. And then in a couple of, before you got them released, the minister, one of the people in charge of the security architecture, I think it's the chief of minister, I can't remember who exactly said, in 1 week the whole thing will be over. And then again, you saw that the entire place, again, the police moved out, security moved out, and they returned them back, and people were clapping. Listen, This is not a country of children, and this is not a country of fools. So even if the minister has better information to suggest that, no, it's not exactly as it looks, the PDP is right to say that the way this looks, it doesn't look too tidy. Something doesn't add up. This is not how it's supposed to do. It shouldn't have caught us unaware. They have not reacted properly. Even the president himself, when he went to the environment, he was busy concerned with saying that I reacted faster than the last administration. That's not how leadership at this level should, you know, be delivered to our people. And so when he now comes back to say, for those reasons, he wants our party to register, I think it's just a joke. That can't happen anyway. And worse than that is that we also have the opportunity of going backwards to look at how the APC, especially underneath the management, the media management of Alhaji Lai Mohammed, how they acted when the first in his type of his type Chibok episode happened. What did they do? They practically threw all decorum away. They made the entire world believe that it was that the country was not properly managed. They tried to even make it difficult for Nigeria to buy the arms that they needed to buy. They were acting in a manner that didn't suggest that they had the corporate interest of Nigeria at heart. And now that we're in opposition, and some of these issues are happening, you can't see us playing those kinds of funny politics. You can't see us throwing decorum to the wind. You can't see us imploding the country. But Lai Mohammed and his friends will not cow us. We have a duty to have a position on issues. Some of our positions may be the collation of the views that we're getting from the generality of Nigeria. If you take a survey today, not many Nigerians believe that the adoptive situation is exactly neat. How can you release all of the girls and keep one? What exactly are you trying to say? You are able to negotiate the release of the Muslim, and you leave the only Christian girl there, and you expect the country to be not wondering, how did you even agree to such a terms, and how did you agree to such circumstance? And when the one girl that is not back, you'll expect that the body language of the government should show more agitation, because they have to know that this particular issue is sitting on a very, very, very delicate thin line. How are the Christians in the country supposed to react to this? How are they supposed to see themselves? Are they supposed to feel endangered? Is the girl supposed to be led there? And in all of this, the only thing Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information, can think to say is that they should deregister the PDP. I think he's just joking. They're only scared, and we're not going to allow them to cow us. We're running for election. We're going to run. There's another thing I needed to even point out with Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Alhaji Lai Mohammed has been in charge of communication for the opposition, so he must know how opposition communication is funded. I'm utterly disappointed in him that he's sitting in cabinet and watching his colleague, who used to be where he was, who used to be in charge of communication for the opposition, or for the ruling party, now the opposition, watching Olisametu go through this, knowing fully well that if we go into the books, we'll probably find out that he didn't fund communication for APC from his pocket. And yet he's happy to sit there. He's happy to watch Olisa very ill. He's happy to watch Olisa not get bail. Ordinarily, you would have said there should be honor among thieves. And someone like Alhaji Lai Mohammed ought to be a champion, knowing fully well that they were doing exactly the same kind of job.
I would like us to keep it clean, so
it's clean enough.
We don't, so that we don't run foul of the standards. But however, let's come back. Let's leave the personality maybe of the Minister of Information. Now, a lot of Nigerians have also said that the PDP as an opposition may not be living up to the standard of what an opposition, holding this government to account the way it's supposed to. A lot of people are saying, are making that statement. What do you think?
A lot of people are wrong.
Okay.
There can be the mob of opinion of how it ought to be done. The difference between what Nigerians are seeing with the PDP and what they saw with the APC when they were in opposition is that the PDP is a far more responsible opposition. We've nurtured this country for 16 odd years. We've kept this country united and together for 16 odd years. We understand what it means to make convoluted statements that can just hit up the polity, and therefore we are far more guarded. And because we are guarded, people have not seen us call people to the street when they increase fuel price. It's not necessary for us to so do. People have not seen us overheat the polity and call them all sorts of funny names, because we also understand that the business of governance is a difficult task, and maybe they're grappling with it. And occasionally, we ask questions, we take them up on issues, we bring the issues to play. But we're not going to become like them, because what they called opposition work then was just a medley of janjaweed activities, almost trying to pull the country down. And the government, the power propaganda and all of that, how much have they done? They won the election 3 years ago today. You and I are the judge of it. Nigerians are the judge of it. How is our life? Have we been able to feel it? We're actually more miserable. If you do a miserable index analysis of the country today, Nigerians are more miserable under their watch. We buy fuel at a higher price. We're not having enough to be able to go around. They've not been able to meet a single metric of their promise. They worked on quite a lot of promises. 4 was critical. They will take care of security. More people are dying. They will take care of employment. They will bring 3 million in 1 year. They've not been able to cut that. They got an economy that was very robust, arguably the biggest in Africa. One of the ones that was already being parried with Mexico. They drove us into a recession. They come up with some of the funniest excuses as to why we got into a recession. No, we got into a recession because of a medley of misdirected policies.
But many would say that almost what is happening now happened during the watch of the PDP as well.
Which of them?
Insurgency was rife then during the rule of the PDP. Corruption, corruption allegations here and there.
Do you know what?
Unemployment rates. Remember, under the watch of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, the immigration recruitment that happened, that some Nigerians were trampled, also under the watch of the PDP. Yes. Okay, now, so would you say it's because of this realization now that your party at last came out to apologize to Nigerians that, yes.
Oh, the apology. I think well, I will come back, but let me take the apology quickly. I think a lot of Nigerians have rarely allowed themselves to forget even the meaning of simple words. The national chairman of our party at our Resetting the Agenda model in Abuja a couple of days ago stood before Nigerians and said he apologized. But did he exactly tell them what he was apologizing for? And so why do they assume that he's apologizing that the PDP did not run government well? Let me now break it down to you and tell you what he was apologizing for. He was apologizing to 3 separate audiences. He was apologizing to PDP members for things that they could have done and didn't do in terms of internal democracy, in terms of imposition and all of that. He said that in the body of the speech. There was a need to apologize to members for that because the members are the owners of the party. So the apology is intact and in place. He apologized to Nigerians. He wasn't apologizing to Nigerians that we didn't run government well. No, he was apologizing to Nigerians that somehow we allowed the APC use propaganda and lies to take over government, meaning that right now the misery that the Nigerians are facing, we could have prevented it if we only if we had only done more to say that, look, these guys don't have the capability to do what they're saying, and if we had prevented Nigerians from getting hoodwinked. And so he's apologizing to the Nigerian people that somehow they're suffering so much, and he's saying, sorry, Nigerians, in a couple of months' time, you'll have an opportunity to reset the agenda, press the button, reset the agenda, throw them out. Our country has never been this divided, and let's get the party back and the country back. The third set of people that he was apologizing to is he was apologizing to our stakeholders that have left, who might have been angry for one thing or the other, and who need to have their frail nerves calmed. And he said to them, this is a new party. We're taking power back to the people in the grassroots. Elections are not done in Wadata. The content of the apology was already delivered in the message that he gave. And I didn't see any reason why anybody should think that there's anything awkward about apologizing. After all, if you do not apologize, it must mean that you're a bit like the APC, who is very conceited in their ways. Even when they've made mistake, they're going to look for another lie to make up the lie, and make up the lie, and another lie to make up the lie. It gets difficult, doesn't it?
But a lot of people still say that, if someone else say the apology was because maybe elections are coming and they're going to need votes from Nigerians specifically.
The Nigerians, the 2019 election is not really an election for one party or the other. It's a referendum on how we want the country to go. In the history of this country, don't forget, none of you is 14-year-old. So you can do a parata of where we were in 1999 and take a preview of where we are today. Have you ever seen our country this divided? Have you ever seen generals in our country talking about self-help? Have you ever heard our leaders all panicking and pressing the buttons? All of this is happening because somehow the country is not as united as it ought to be. Okay, skirmishes here and there with headsmen and farmers. It's never been elevated to the level where 74, 75, 100 people are just killed like that. And so we're saying to Nigerians, You may have some issues with the PDP when we were in government for 18 years or 16 years, beg your pardon. You can't have an issue with everything we've done. But all the issues you may have, you have to also know that in the democratic journey of Nigeria, there is no operational manual that the parties follow. And indeed, the only operational manual that all of the parties are now following is the operational manual of the PDP, because we were the ones that were running the thing, and therefore we were the ones that were strengthening party, building the structures. All the other newer parties and the ones that hope to come in the future are following this manual. And therefore, when you are like a champion, blazing the trip and paddling and trying to figure out the best way for an African democratic institution to subsist and to stand, then sometimes some mistakes may happen. But those mistakes, take your eyes not off it. The democracy itself imagines that from time to time we'll do a review of the system. Take the case of Lagos State. It will be really interesting to see whether Lagosians are brave enough to throw away the APC in Lagos and give maybe the PDP the opportunity to come in charge of Lagos, that we may now go look at the books and the hypocrisy of their narrative and the things they trump themselves and their annoying sanctimonious lifestyle will be made open and thrown bare to everybody. Therefore, what we're saying is that in the build-up to 2019, people must know Nigeria matters. The lives of Nigerians matters. We're brothers. We're not even used to this. We're not used to seeing ourselves as Muslim, Christian. No. We're used to seeing ourselves as one very happy people. We're used to seeing ourselves as neighbor. Something is not right. And whatever it is that is not right is because of the handling of the government and the way they're running the country, especially the way their communication.
All right, quickly before we round off now,
yes.
Because there's no time.
I know.
Going into this next election, because things have started getting busy, especially now that you have a presidential aspirant in your party now from yesterday, Atiku Abubakar.
Okay.
What will be the message, the strong message of PDP now to Nigerians going into this election that will be different from what you have told Nigerians before?
What we will say to Nigeria, well, thank you very much on the Atiku Abubakar declaration. What you can see, even from that declaration, is that there is a general desire by everybody to come together to rescue Nigeria now. And that's why you see Atiku is no longer doing the kinds of things he was doing, supporting them. He's putting himself forward and is blasting the tape and saying, let's give it a shot again. Because remember, whatever you want to say about Atiku Abubakar, everything that you're seeing in terms of the private sector-led economy of Nigeria underneath the PDP watch was Atiku's work. No man should deprive him of what he contributed. He was the first vice president who was in charge of the Economic Council. He did the privatization with Nasiru El-Rufai, who chaired at that time. And so, therefore, Atiku is somebody who knows how to get everybody to work again as a Democrat. But what are we going to be saying to Nigerians? We're going to be saying to Nigerians that Nigerians will feel your pain. We've been here before. Some mistakes which could bother on how people manage themselves with sleeves and dipping their hands into the till. But recall, every institution by which we're going to try to stop all of this and fight corruption were institutions created by us. They can be better supervised. We can make sure that our recruiting systems are better. We can make sure that we encourage more Nigerians to come on board and show interest in running the party. Remember, it's what you put in that you get. It's garbage in, garbage out. If good people don't come on board, if they don't present themselves, it's only the ones that present themselves that can be made candidates. The party is a robust platform to give people the opportunity to come and try and form government. If the party forms the government, if the man wins, the relationship between the party and the government then becomes that of you form the government, we are the party, and what we're saying right now is that we will make sure that we supervise them more, so lastly, and we will scream at them even more.
Lastly, because of time, you're meaning to tell us that the PDP is not in any way bothered by the call for deregistration by the Minister of Information?
The Minister for Information, I'm sure the President will not allow the Minister for Information to implode the country for him. And I'm sure that if the President is aware that he said this, I'm sure the President is probably going to give him a query to come and tell him why he should, because you know it can almost give the impression that it was General or President Buhari that told him to go and deregister the main opposition, which will truly be regrettable and a joke.
All right, Segun Sanwo-Oluwa, thank you so much for coming and giving us your insight on the program. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
For coming.